May I come in, sir?
Please come.
16.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sirs.
Please sit down.
Thank you,
Please sit
sir.
down. Please sit down. So, Mr. Aniruddh, tell us last time how many marks you got in the UPSC?
So in the interview, sir, 173.
Good. We'll start. Please tell us about yourself.
Sir. So my name is Aniruddh Yadav. I was born in Chandigarh in 1996. So I've completed my schooling from Delhi in science subjects, and subsequently I went on to do my engineering in biotechnology from IIT Delhi in a dual degree course. So currently I'm serving as an officer trainee in the Indian Information Service. And so my hobbies include studying the prevention and causes of aging, sir, and playing football and squash, sir.
Now, your postal address says Moti Bagh, Chanakyapuri,
So,
and all that. Tell us what you know about Chanakya.
sir.
During which period of history he was there?
So Chanakya is said to be the political advisor of the Emperor Chandragupta, and so this was, I believe, in the 3rd century BC, sir.
So tell us more about him, whatever you know.
So he is considered to be one of the biggest political thinkers of Indian history, sir. He has written a very popular book by the name of Arthashastra that was discovered in the 1900s. Additionally, sir, he has given a lot of tenets for bureaucracy, and he has a lot of rules that he has given in his book with regard to both bureaucracy and kingship, sir.
So tell us about bureaucracy, 3 rules which he mentioned.
Sir. So the first would be, sir, that he's written that all the individuals who are serving in a bureaucracy must be positively incentivized to do good. So secondly, he spoke about corruption very famously, where he said corruption in a bureaucracy is like a fish drinking water in the ocean. It is impossible to find out. And so third, he said that a true political leader is one who actually cares about the subjects and takes private interest in.
But we are talking of bureaucracy, not of political leaders.
Sir.
Tell us the 3rd rule of bureaucracy, which he said.
Sir, I can only recall these.
Doesn't
two,
matter.
Sir.
No, anthropology is your subject.
Sir.
So there are different types of anthropology, isn't it?
Sir.
Can you tell me what are these?
So the first is archaeological anthropology, which involves digging for old fossils, etc. So the second is socio-cultural anthropology, which involves going to different cultures, studying their cultural traits. So the third is physical, which is also called biological anthropology, that seeks to study a human being as a physical being, sir. And sir, lastly, sir, we have linguistic anthropology. That is a new field that is opening up, sir, very recently.
Talking of the archaeological part, about Mahabharata, about existing of Indraprasth,
Sir.
there was a lot of talk that in Delhi in Purana Killa they have found out something.
Sir.
Are you aware of that?
Indeed, sir.
Has something come out of that?
Sir. Sir, an archaeological excavation, I think it was done about 10 to 12 years back, found an inscription of 6th century BC, so which translates to Indraprasth. So the entire inscription was broken. So we don't know whether it is referring to Delhi, but the words Indraprasth were found on that inscription.
But does it have any link with Mahabharata? Is it a mythological story or a real story? No.
Sir. So a lot of archaeological evidences based on what the Mahabharata says, for instance, the city of Dwarka, for instance, that Delhi was called Indraprasth, have been found. However, sir, as we go further and further with archaeological evidences, we can perhaps say that.
Achha, tell me in Mahabharata, since we are at that.
Sir.
Now, of course, Yudhishthira is called the Dharmraj,
Sir.
and Duryodhan is painted as the villain.
Sir.
But many people say, and I agree with them, they say that Duryodhan was fair, he played according to the rules.
Sir.
Whereas Dharmraj, he cheated every now and then.
Sir.
And played deception and all, which doesn't suit, like Ashwatthama's case. Whereas Duryodhan knew, well, I want the kingdom, that's it. So any rule is fair for that, whatever I do. You agree with this?
Indeed, sir. So I do believe that while Duryodhan was painted as a pragmatist and Yudhishthir was painted as an idealist, the goal of the story is to show that while pragmatism might work in the short run, in the end, it is idealism and attachment to core philosophical and moral values that eventually triumphs, sir.
I didn't ask you for the conclusion.
Sir.
So, do you agree that Dhanamraj was not really Dhanamraj?
Indeed, sir. There are a lot of instances where the character of Yudhishthir is shown to take steps which are morally not right.
So, let's move on to the climate change. What are the causes of climate change?
So the primary cause of climate change is the release of greenhouse gases such as methane, such as carbon dioxide, such as hydrofluorocarbons, etc. So apart from that, a lot of pollutants such as sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide.
And effects of this?
So the effects of this are found all over the biosphere, sir. So starting with the oceans, we see that increased CO2 absorption in the oceans leads to increased acidity, which decreases the biodiversity of the oceans. So the temperatures are rising throughout the world. We have risen by more than 1.1 degrees Celsius in the past century itself. So thirdly, the extremities. So the extremities of temperatures, summers are getting hotter while winters are
But you're talking only of temperature only, nothing else.
So the natural disasters, so such as tsunamis, such as cyclones, etc., have become more frequent and more intense.
Acha, tell me, my last question to you is that you are now the Indian Information Service.
Sir.
Now, in the war with the enemy, whether it's visible or invisible, even insurgents, let's talk of Kashmir, for example.
Sir.
Now, there's always a weapon called cyber. Have you heard of this? This is psychological operations. Think a little and tell me what psychological operations you will launch in Kashmir to win over the people to India's side.
So there can be a three-pronged approach. So the first would involve ensuring psychologically through the use of mass media such as newspapers, etc., and the internet, to ensure that the image of India that is projected to people in Kashmir is more positive. So such as showing patriotic videos, showing a lot of bravery done by the individuals, by the security forces that work over there. So second would be the negative aspect, where we show our neighboring country Pakistan in a negative light. We highlight and underline the atrocities done by a lot of individuals over there. And so this would create a negative perception in the minds of the people over there towards Pakistan. And so thirdly, ensuring, one of the biggest problems in Kashmir is the animosity and the relative unease of the population with regard to presence of security forces. So ensuring that there is, through media, ensuring that there is more interaction between them. So making, in the minds of the individuals, making them understand that these are also human beings.
No, I'm talking of psychological operations.
Sir.
Third one, you are saying something different.
Sir.
Anyway, let's leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Aniruddh, what is the biological age of organs, human organs?
So the biological age, sir?
Age.
So as we progress in life, the biological age of all organs increases, and this is not in a uniform manner. So for instance, for a smoker, sir, the lungs would age a lot faster.
No, generally average. Average
So
in the generic sense.
So
80 years, 70 years, 90 years, what?
Sir, about 70 to 80 years. Sir.
So the average longevity of human is also that much?
Indeed, sir.
So this prevention of aging,
Sir.
beyond 70 years, that is what you study?
Absolutely, sir.
Is it science, is it fiction, or is it commerce?
Sir, it is very much science now, sir. Sir, throughout history, sir, individuals have sought to become immortal. But sir, now, as recently as 2016, sir, research has come from Harvard and MIT that has conclusively found out the genetic causes of aging. So much so, the research is so conclusive that the WHO has now called aging a disease. So it is not considered something that is...
Which means what?
So
you can live for how long?
So currently, sir, it is seen that we can live in a very healthy manner till the age of 110 and 120, sir. So with the right intervention, sir.
What kind of interventions?
So the interventions work at three levels. One is behavioral, which includes habits, etc. So the second is the environment we stay in, and so the third relates to usage of a lot more So what we say supplements such as certain vitamins, etc. Sir.
Supplements.
Sir.
There's a whole lot of literature against supplements.
Indeed, sir.
So how do you square this?
So it is very unfortunate that in the aging industry, big pharma till very recently, even now, sir, has peddled a lot of drugs that have not undergone the right clinical trials, the results of which have been not positive.
So these studies, have they been peer reviewed?
Indeed, sir. So these studies, so the latest studies have been peer reviewed by at the highest levels in multiple countries, and so even by ostensibly independent individuals such as scientists.
These are studies by pharmaceutical companies?
No, sir. So these are studies from institutes such as Harvard, MIT, sir, a lot of, so the Max Planck Institute in Germany, sir, in London, so there is
Do you believe these studies that really an average human being can live up to 110 years?
Absolutely, sir. So there is data supporting these studies. There are not just anecdotal evidence.
Data can be manipulated.
Indeed, sir.
And it can be deceptive also.
Absolutely, sir.
So do you still agree with them?
Sir, I believe that in the scientific process, ensuring so all of these studies are credible to the extent that they follow the scientific procedure of having double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. So additionally, all of these are peer-reviewed not by just one individual, but by scientists from across the world who have a very good reputation.
That
sir.
can be manipulated.
Indeed, sir.
Okay. Now, the MPC decisions.
Sir.
Tell us.
So most recently, the Monetary Policy Committee decided not to increase the repo rate.
How much is it now?
Sir, I believe it's 6.5%. Sir.
What else?
So additionally, it has said that it expects inflation to somewhat not increase in the future. Moderate, sir. And additionally, sir, it says that they will continue to look at international happenings, because it is the Monetary Policy Committee even in the past has said that large parts of the inflation run currently are because of international effects.
And on growth, what does it say?
So the Monetary Policy Committee has said that India's growth will be around 6.9% this year.
6.9%. Are you sure?
So as far as I can remember, sir.
Okay, that's very optimistic. Do you believe that the MCP in its next quarterly meeting will increase the repo rate, considering that inflation is only marginally down?
Sir, I believe that they perhaps, everything else in the international scenario remaining the same, they will perhaps not increase the repo rate.
That can never be the same. International scenario will be subject to change.
Indeed, sir. So to that extent, sir, we see that there are a lot of, the OPEC has very recently said that oil prices will be increased and supplies will be cut in the summer. So this is a major cause for inflation. Additionally, sir, we also see that there are risks of how the wheat crop might not be as good as it was expected due to untimely rains.
So therefore,
this could also lead to inflation. Sir, and so once the yield is determined, so once the final output of the final cost of the oil is determined, then perhaps based on those.
What is the price of oil at present?
Sir, I'm not aware of the current price.
$70, $80 a barrel or what?
Sir, I believe the OPEC has said it will shift to an $80 minimum soon, sir, but I'm not aware of the current price.
Okay. My last question. The caste census, are you in favor of it? Particularly of the OBCs, because of the other scheduled tribes, scheduled castes, we have data. There is census data. OBC, there isn't, except the very earlier one which said 51% of the population is OBC.
Sir.
Now there is a move, political move to have a caste census.
Sir, I believe that any practice regarding a caste census would certainly, so the aim of the census is to improve governance, is to ensure data-led governance, wherein once we know how...
So you are in favor of it?
So I believe that the data should perhaps, so even now the SECC data of 2011 has not been released, and so similarly I believe releasing a lot of this data can lead to short-term issues of revolts.
But the overarching question is, you believe caste census is good?
Sir, I believe it is necessary for data-led governance. However, sir, I believe that the data is very sensitive, sir, because it relates to caste and it can lead to a lot of social upheaval, sir.
So, yes or no?
Sir, I believe it should certainly be done. However, sir, the release of that data should be slow and staggered, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Aniruddh,
Sir.
we'll start again from the anti-aging, aging and anti-aging. You know, the chromosomes, you have studied biotechnology and all that. No?
Sir.
Chromosomes have caps
Sir.
on either end.
Sir.
There was a study that as you grow,
Sir.
the caps size get reduced.
Sir.
So rather than this, you told behavior, environment, and supplement.
Sir.
Should we not think of maintaining the cap?
Absolutely, sir. So the caps on the ends of the chromosomes, which are called telomeres,
Telomeres.
and so these caps, so by behavioral and by supplementation, so the length of the cap increases. So there is an enzyme by the name of telomerase, which can be produced by the body and is routinely produced by the body, which can remake the gaps in these caps, sir. And sir, we can increase telomerase. For instance, exercising more than 220 minutes every week is the highest, is the most potential way of increasing telomerase in the body.
220
So 220 minutes every week, sir.
every week. Okay.
Sir. And so it's the most effective way of increasing telomerase. So, sir, all the behavioral supplementation
Now
tools,
such
etc.
advanced technology there, why can't we manufacture telomerase?
So that was tried in clinical trials, sir. However, when telomerase was directly injected into patients, and so not patients, sir, rats in the lab, it led to hyper-aggressive cancer developing in them, and the rats didn't survive for more than a week, sir.
But when it is manufactured inside, then it is okay. You
Sir.
mean to say that?
Sir, it only shows that the dosage of telomerase, the enzyme which increases the size of the caps, has to be regulated, and it has to be, it can't be in a single go, sir. So this precise formula
Only
has not
single
been-
that can be standardized and that can be given in daily or weekly doses.
Indeed, sir. So the studies on this are still going on to find out the optimal.
I read it
dose,
20
sir.
years back.
Sir.
You are telling studies still going on.
So to find the optimal dosage, sir. So for instance, a lot of the creams like Olay, etc., they have telomerase in them in trace quantities, and so they are shown to reduce the cosmetic aging of the skin, sir.
I see.
Sir.
Okay. How many siblings you are?
So I have one sibling, sir.
Only one.
Sir.
But you must have seen some more than one siblings of same parents
Absolutely, sir.
in your neighborhood,
Sir.
friend circle and all. This physical features of the children of the same parents, they differ.
Sir.
Means face and all that.
Indeed, sir.
Why?
So this is primarily because of two reasons. So the first is that every individual completely randomly inherits certain traits from some parents. So for instance, I might inherit the heart and the stomach of my father, but the face of my mother. So the second reason is the fact that there is hybridization of the traits of mother and father both. So for instance, sir, I might have the eye shape of my father, but the eye color of my mother.
No, hybridization you cannot say because hybridization is between the two strains of the same species.
Indeed, sir.
But they are not two strains.
Sir.
They are same parents. This time, when the first child is born, the same parents when the second child is born.
So there is a unique crossover event that occurs during what is called meiosis. In the so the particular cells are the egg cells and the sperm cells, and so during this time, our parents' their copies of the DNA are so they cross over, and the crossover facility and the crossover frequency differs every time, sir. So
And
this
what
is
is the stage is called at which crossover takes place?
So it develops us. So
Name
this
of the
is-
stage.
So I'll just take 1 second, sir. So I believe it's the anaphase, sir.
No, that is a phase of the meiosis cell division, but in that stage is called synapsis.
Synaptomial, yes, sir, synapse, indeed.
Synapsis, in which crossing over. First synapsis happens. Synapsis means actually coming close.
Sir.
And crossover means exchanging
Sir.
genetic material. That is
Indeed. Thank you, sir.
fine. Thanks. Welcome. Then what is the national significance of a political party getting national status?
So,
What is the advantage? Recently, some party got it.
so very recently, the Aam Aadmi Party was given
Yeah.
national party status. So some of the benefits that accrue of having the status. So the first is that the election commission allows you to have 40 star campaigners during elections, as opposed to 20 for state recognized parties. So secondly, if a party is a national party, so the amount of time that their party, the coverage that they get in newspapers and television, so that has to be roughly equal, sir. The election commission monitors this. And so these are the only two that I can recall, sir, currently.
Okay.
So-
What are biopesticides and what is their use, etc.?
So-
Or advantage?
So biopesticides are also what are called biological control agents. So they are of two types. So one would be, so for instance, a pesticide that is released by a fungus or a bacteria, etc. And so the second would be something like a bird, which can strike down on the insects. So these are the two kind of biological control agents. So for
Can you
instance,
give the example of the previous one, the first one which you mentioned?
sir, I don't know any example of the biopesticides. Sir.
What is the advantage?
So the advantage would be the fact that firstly, a lot of these pesticides would not cause chemical leaching into the soil. So these would not lead to soil pollution and subsequent problems of the soil. So second is that so this is more sustainable in the long run because they're produced by natural processes. They're not as expensive to manufacture compared to chemical fertilizers. Sir. Thirdly, so the safety of the farmers applying them, because applying fertilizer also causes diseases. Sir.
Best thing is the food quality.
Absolutely, sir.
You don't accumulate poison.
Sir.
Then what about any one fungus is very important pesticide, biopesticide. What is that?
Sir, I'm not sure, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Aniruddh Yadav,
Sir.
I see from your draft that you're currently in the Indian Information Service.
Sir.
So I presume you keep track of important news items.
So I try my best, sir.
Now, few simple things I want to know. Are you following the G20 presidency of India?
Indeed, sir.
Now, what is the motto of our presidency?
Sir, I believe the motto is one world,
But in
one planet, one future.
In our own language, how does it read?
Sir, the motto in our language is Vasudev Kutumbakam, sir.
Correct. One world.
One family, one
Okay.
future.
Now, India has been following this motto in regard to its foreign policy.
Indeed, sir.
Can you, suppose you were talking to a group of people from other countries, would you give them some concrete examples based on your information background where this policy has been implemented by us? India doesn't only speak of it, it follows this.
Absolutely, sir.
So, examples, please.
So the first one would be the example during the COVID crisis. Excuse me, sir. So as part of the vaccine Maitri program, India exported more vaccines than any other country, and a lot of these were free of charge, especially to our neighbors such as Maldives and Sri Lanka. So the second, and so this was also at a time when the West had given up, had taken control of all the vaccines. And
So
were
one
not
was
supplying.
vaccine Maitri.
Sir.
Some other example.
The second would be the role of India in rehabilitating a lot of the individuals in Afghanistan, especially a lot of women who, when they came to India, they were given special visas. So currently they study in, they are given educational facilities in India.
Okay.
And
Then
so India's behavior and India's approach, especially towards Sri Lanka, towards Bhutan and
All right.
towards Nepal.
what
there
about
is-
Operation Dost? What was that?
Sir, I can't recall at the moment. Sir.
Well, it was the relief assistance program to Turkey and Syria in the context of the earthquakes.
Indeed, sir.
However, the media, and you are from the information service, so you follow what the media says. The media wrote a lot of commentaries on the theme that Turkey has backstabbed India. What happened? What was the reason for that? Why did the media make such comments?
So can I take a few moments to think about it, sir?
All right. Okay, let's move on. I guess you're not able to
So I
recall.
can't recall it.
Now, surely you would have followed the recent Padma Award ceremonies.
Sir,
Important
I did
news,
read
front
about
page, major news item, covered by television, All India Radio, newspapers. Can you tell me three of the people, shall I say, who got the Padma Vibhushan? Was there any Bharat Ratna this year?
So not that I can recall,
Okay,
sir.
Padma Vibhushans. News, this is part of your staple diet.
Sir, I believe one was Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav, sir.
Posthumously, yes.
So I can't recall.
All
it.
right, so let's move on.
Thank you.
Now, you have a very interesting background. You mentioned that you got the bronze medal at the IGEM. What is the IGEM competition?
So it's the International Genetically Engineered Machine
Okay,
competition.
at MIT.
Sir.
Oh, MIT is, you went there to MIT?
Sir, I had applied for my visa application was rejected. sir.
Why? Because your father is in the police service. I think,
Perhaps.
yes, the Americans are very crazy. But surely you know that the MIT is a Ivy League university. Can you tell me some of the other Ivy Leagues, Ivy League universities?
Sir, I believe Harvard University, Yale University,
Yale, correct.
Sir, Brown University,
Brown's is correct.
Sir, Dartmouth,
Any in New York?
Sir, Columbia, sir.
Yes. And any in New York, upstate New York State?
Sir, NYU, sir. I'm not sure, sir.
No, NYU is not. But where
Cornell.
Ratan Tata has given a huge endowment. It was his college.
So Cornell, sir.
Correct. So these are some of them. Well, you almost went to one Ivy Leagues. That's why I asked you. Now, you also got some summer project on cancer at the University of Vienna.
Sir.
You went there.
I went there for 3 months. Sir.
Okay. And did you tour around Austria?
Sir, I only went to, so I toured around Vienna. So, and I went to neighboring countries such as, sir, I went to Slovakia.
But
I
you
went
didn't
to,
tour around in Austria?
Sir, I went
Can
to
you name
Salzburg.
some cities? Salzburg, yes. Salzburg is where a very famous movie was shot.
So
Which
Sound
one?
of, Sound of Music.
And do you remember the name of the Schloss where it was shot?
No, sir.
Schloss Leopoldskron, difficult to pronounce. Now, what is the policy of Austria towards NATO?
Sir, Austria since 1945 has maintained a policy of neutrality, and so this was after in the context of the Second World War. After the First World War, after which Germany and Austria were not allowed to unite. So after that, Austria has maintained a very clear practice of neutrality, sir.
And any other countries which have also maintained this position, which are not, which are neutral, shall we say?
So till very recently, Norway was neutral, so they had said that they will not align to any
Are
power.
you sure?
So, but very recently they joined NATO.
Very recently mean when?
So just about a week back. Sir.
Are you not confusing Norway and Finland?
I apologize, sir. So Finland, sir.
Because Norway, the Secretary General is from Norway. Who is the Secretary General?
Sir, I'm not aware of it.
Stoltenberg, Jan Stoltenberg. Okay, my last question. You referred to Finland joining.
Sir.
Now, Russia's border with NATO has increased a lot. But can you tell me some other countries in NATO which have a border with Russia?
Sir. So there's, apart from Sir Finland, and so there's Estonia, Latvia. So the 3 Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia.
Third also
and-
has?
So it has a border with Kaliningrad, sir, I believe, sir. So
Certainly
additionally-
Estonia and Latvia have.
Estonia and Latvia,
So,
sir.
do you think now there is a danger of the conflict between Russia and NATO increasing or not? What do you think? What's your opinion?
Absolutely, sir. So I believe that given what the Russian, so what Mr. Vladimir Putin had said with regard to how he will increase the border force at even the Finland border, and that he would not take lightly this fact. And given that this was the precipitating factor for the war to start in the first place, that Ukraine was threatening to join NATO. So this will certainly.
Last question. You know that the ICC, International Criminal Court, has an arrest warrant
Sir.
against Putin. And Putin would come for the G20.
Sir.
What would be your advice to government of India? What should India do? Arrest him or not? And why?
Sir, I believe that sir, neither Russia nor India are signatories to the Rome Statute, that is the founding basis of the ICC. And so to that extent, I believe that because India does not recognize the jurisdiction and the authority of ICC, sir, it does not need to do anything, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aniruddh. Our
Thank you, sir.
discussion with you is over. Kindly wait outside for a few minutes. We'll call you for a feedback.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.